This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Once again here on the Comic Culture Warrior YouTube channel. Getting to the end of this very long session. I think we've got a good rant for last week.
Oh, I think we do.
Because this past week, we're going to revisit one of our favorite topics. But getting back to Marvel Divas, Joe Quesada himself has addressed the whole issue of this new title, Marvel Divas, being quote-unquote sexist. And no, the book has not come out yet. And yes, a lot of this is being said about the book sight unseen. But the way the book has been marketed, the way the book is being put together, and how it's being presented is rubbing a lot of folks the wrong way. So if you were of the persuasion that were offended by the book, thinking that the book was portraying women in an unrealistic light, and if you thought the book was sexist, Joe Quesada had an answer for you, and I quote, "If you're a Marvel reader and truly feel we're sexist, then why are you reading our books? Now, perhaps you're not a Marvel reader. Then if that's the case, I'm not quite sure what you're criticizing if you don't read our books." What the fuck kind of logic is that? That's sort of like a Mobius strip that folds in on itself. Look, if you think we're sexist, why are you reading the books? You shouldn't be reading the books. And if you're not reading the books, how can you criticize them? That has to be... I think maybe later on, Joe is going to think, and mind you, he does go on to say a lot more here about publishing and how the books are presented and wanting to reach a wider audience and so on.
Well, maybe we'll send you a link to this.
Yeah, I'll
maybe
set up a link.
In the corner, we'll have a link to the actual article that we read, because it was taken off of was it IO9 was the website that had this original article, but then the article that we actually talked about before when we started talking about this Marvel Divas thing was from their sister site, Jezebel.com, which is an awesome site. I know a lot of you who hate women and don't like feminism. Don't bother going there, because that's what the blog's about, and that's what it portrays.
They don't like men or penises there, so keep your penis away from them.
But Jezebel.com is actually one of the few websites that I visit every single day.
And again, back just to the issue of the rationale that Joe Quesada gives, it's just... it was probably one of those things that he threw out there, and afterwards, he looks at it in print and he goes, okay, maybe that just didn't make any fucking sense. But really, it's the old, you're basically blaming the readers, is what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're blaming the readers. If you think we're so bad, why are you giving us your money? Okay? And then, if you're not giving us your money, then you have no right to criticize us because you have no idea what we're doing.
Well, guess what, fucker? I'm giving you money every fucking month so I can criticize your stupid ass when you say stupid shit like this.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it. I think it's part is that...
Now, let's take the first part of this. If you are a Marvel reader and truly feel that we're sexist, then why are you reading our books? All right, let's just take that first segment, and we'll talk about that. All right, I don't fault Marvel as a whole for a couple of misogynists who are working at Marvel. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel.
Right.
I am not gonna. I'm gonna support the guys who I think have a good voice and are doing things differently from how Joe Quesada and Brian Michael Bendis are doing stuff. I want to give my money to books by Jeff Parker. I want to give my money to books by Matt Fraction and Jonathan Hickman. And when James Robinson does stuff, I want to give those people my money, and because I'm letting the dollars speak for themselves. Just because Joe Quesada is being a fucking asshole does not mean that I hate Marvel as a whole. I'm still going to support the guys I want to support, but I do not support him in the least. If he ever puts anything out, I will never buy it. You know what the last thing he put out was that fucking Amazing Spider-Man bullshit.
One More Day.
And everyone knows how that went down, all right? And I hope that because of that story, I hope that he never writes anything ever again or creates anything ever again. But I will be the first to tell you that if he ever has his name as a writer or artist on any book, I will not be picking it up because that's who I have a problem with. Just like I have a problem with Brian Michael Bendis, and that's why I will not be picking up anything with Brian Michael Bendis' name on it.
I wouldn't take as much of an extreme view, but you do realize that Joe Quesada has his finger in every book that goes out there. So for as much as we might criticize him for something like Marvel Divas, you also have to give him credit for Agents of Atlas. And you have to give him credit for all the books that go well at Marvel.
Well,
I mean,
no, the books that are going well, I give the creators the props for those books. He greenlit the projects, but you know what? If it weren't for Jeff Parker, if it weren't for all those guys and all the new talent coming up, if it weren't for Jason Aaron on Ghost Rider would be shit right now, I think, if Jason Aaron wasn't on that book.
Yeah, but Joe Quesada let Jason Aaron do the book. He took a risk on this kid. On top of that, I mean, let's face it, under Joe Quesada, and I'm playing the advocate here, Joe Quesada has really helped that Marvel resurge.
I agree. I am going to agree with that, but I don't have to like the guy. And when he comes out and says shit like this...
Well, I think of this as... No, you're right.
I mean, he should know better. I mean, yeah, we're a couple of idiots sitting here chastising him and criticizing him, but he's a fucking professional. He's running. He's the editor-in-chief. When he comes out and says like this, something like this, that is very not professional at all.
Well, this is an off-the-cuff remark that came out really wrong, I think. And, I mean, I'm sure he's looking at it now and going, this was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever said. But again, back to the issue of what he's saying, you're right. Being a professional is more than just, putting your books out on time. It's being able to handle criticism. It's being able to, when people come to you and say, wait a minute, hold on, look at the way you're portraying stuff here. It's coming out and saying, okay, okay, I understand that's your point of view and that's the way you feel. This is our point of view, and being able to articulate what that point of view is.
And it had all the articulation of a 6-year-old.
Well, later on in the statement, I think he articulated a wee bit better.
Which I want to kind of get into.
Right, we'll get into that. But now the next part was, now this is where, to me, this is what kind of he went wrong, was when he says, now perhaps you're not a Marvel reader, then if that's the case, I'm not quite sure what you're criticizing if you don't read our books. While that is a valid argument, and again, we're talking about a book that has not yet seen print yet. No one's seen it. No one knows what's behind that cover that's generated all this criticism, this
not
fury
only
and
the
anger.
Cover, but the press release that they sent out.
The press release, correct. No one's seen it. So, but maybe that's kind of a shot at people who want to criticize things sight unseen. And I'm going to say again, I've done that myself. I've admitted that I will rip a particular book not having seen it, maybe just flipping through it and just taking issue with a particular image out of context.
But it's not like we're just saw the cover and that's what it was.
Right.
That's not. I mean, there's been a couple articles written up it, and then there was a whole press release where they gave their spiel and they told you what the book was and the terminology that they use. It's all of that combined. Right. It's not just the cover.
I think though Joe Quesada might have been better served by saying, we've heard the criticisms. Okay, we ask. Wait until the book is out. Say what you think at that point, and if there are issues beyond that, we'll listen and we'll talk.
Well, that's what the professional statement would have been.